Twitch. What do we call it? Podcast. Podcast with. I'm gonna say podcast with Nate.
All right.
Part 1. Yeah, part 1. Gotta put a space there. Alright. I'm about to start it.
All right.
Alright, I'm just gonna be like, this is gonna be, you know what I'm saying? I'll just start it off real quick. Just quick intro, and then once I say your name, you could just kind of, introduce yourself.
All right. I will.
Alright. Welcome, guys, to the first podcast on the Twitch channel. I was supposed to do this on YouTube, but then we got a strike on our channel which prevents us from live streaming on there. But today we're going to be talking about COD World War II, and I'm joined here with Nate. You can
Hi there.
introduce yourself.
I'm Nate. Axef. Nice to meet you. Is that a good introduction?
Yeah, it's alright. But what I wanted to do was like get this podcast live stream and then just get it on YouTube. So then it could just be a part on there, but I don't know how I'm gonna do it, cause I would have to record the entire thing and then render it. It'll take forever.
Yeah.
But World War II. What are your thoughts on it?
I look forward to it very much.
What do you want from the multiplayer side of it though?
From the multiplayer, I'd like something balanced. I don't really like the weapon variants, and I really don't want them in the game. Personally,
I don't think they're gonna add weapon variants.
I mean, they might.
I think they're gonna do kind of like how Modern Warfare Remastered did it.
Yeah.
I think they should, like, if they're gonna do supply drops, but I think if they do it, they should do it like either Infinite Warfare or even Modern Warfare Remastered, because you could get the parts and then just buy it. You don't have to just base it on luck like BO3.
Yeah. I'd like it to be balanced, so it's more about gun skill than what gun you're using. Because, like, in Infinite Warfare, for example, just because it's so evident here, if you run something other than whatever is currently the best gun with all the patches and updates and everything, if you run something other than that, you're most likely going to lose gunfights.
Yeah, because it's usually if you just do not run the best weapons in the game, you're done.
Yeah, it's like,
That's
when the
really
Type
it.
2 was buffed, everybody was running the Type 2, because if you didn't, you lost gunfights to everyone else running a Type 2.
Yeah, when I used to use the Type 2 in Infinite Warfare, like, before the buff, and it was
like,
still pretty strong.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was strong, but, like, once it surpassed everything else, there was nothing else was being used. That was the same thing when they nerfed the E-Red, because it used to not be as good as it is right now.
Yeah, the E-Red used to be like a melt machine back in the beta.
Yeah. Well, so was the FHP, though.
The FHR?
The FHR, yeah, that one.
Yeah,
I was mixing
SMG was overpowered.
FPS with FHR.
I used to use it so much, but then just kind of stopped once the full game came. I'm like, this weapon sucks now. Yeah, I just didn't want to use it anymore. Like, I feel like if they should just have a fast-paced grounds, like, just boots on the ground game. Is this? I don't want it to be Modern Warfare Remastered all over again.
Yeah.
Like, what do you... From just playing Modern Warfare Remastered, do you want another game like that? Like, slow-paced? You know, using the old types of
Yeah,
guns?
I want a more slow-paced game.
I feel like I want a more fast-paced game, but like one that's, obviously
I
boots
mean,
on the ground,
they made it
but
look
kind of
like
like
it's going to
Black
be
Ops
run
2
and
pace.
gunning. They made it look like there was going to be a lot of run and gunning.
Yeah, but you're thinking about it, you're gonna be using the M1 Garand and like, I think the Tommy gun, stuff like that. But I've never played World at War, so I don't know how it was. I'm assuming it was pretty slow. But like those games were just starting off the multiplayer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's gotten way smoother. I just don't know what to expect from World War II. What did you think about the trailer that came out like a month ago?
Oh boy,
Think
it
it
was
was
a
anything
great
special?
trailer.
Like, did you find the gore in it like, pretty crazy for a COD game? Or was it like just right?
Oh boy. Ask me that question again, but this time in Spanish.
Um,
No, in English, please, please.
Alright, so what did you think about like the gore coming back?
Um,
Like, 'cause I know Black Ops 3 did it a little bit, but they didn't really show it too much.
I mean, we'll have to see.
Do you want gore? Like, you're blowing off people's heads and like their limbs and shit?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not very decisive, but I don't know, honestly.
Dude, I want gore. I want like you be able to like just machete their freaking arm off, like everything. Give me the gore. I think it'll be sick. Like, imagine playing, me and you are both competitive players, right? So
Right.
imagine playing like an S&D or a hard point and you're rushing in the hill and you just see like heads on the hill, freaking limbs on the hill. It'll be crazy. That'll
Yeah.
be sick. And like
Oh my
when you
god,
shoot, like
I
say
hate
you shoot a
weapon variants.
shotgun at them or something, you just blow off their limbs, like in World at War. That'll be sick. Do you want the All right, let's move on. What did you think of the time to kill in Modern Warfare Remastered?
Remastered is way too fast.
Do
Unless
you
I mean,
want it to be like that?
oh god, I'd say I want it to be slower, but not as slow as in Infinite Warfare, because Infinite Warfare is unreliable. Like, it could be anywhere from 4 to 6 hit markers for a K-bar. Like, I don't want something that unreliable. Jeez,
Yeah, ever
weapon
since
variants
the nerf
everywhere.
for the K-bar and the NV4, I just feel like those weapons have gotten worse, but they're still like the top tier. So it's kind of weird. Like, you could be shooting at a guy for like 6 shots, and they just run. Like if you're long range distance with a K-bar, you're most likely gonna miss a ton of shots because the gun just kicks way too much side to side.
Yeah, well, I want recoil because I think there should be weapons, more of the semi-auto guns and more of the assault rifles that should be less good close range as opposed to Infinite Warfare. Whereas, that's for holding down angles and, keeping people at bay from pushing up bomb sites and everything. Like using it more of a tactical way instead of just being able to run and gun with literally anything. And then I think the submachine gun should have more recoil so that they can't be used at such a long range. So that it limits people to... Because right now, whether you've noticed or not, the pro players are, you know, like, people who were submachine gun slayers are now just slayers because AR slayers and submachine gun slayers are the same. And there's a lot more support players because you can run any gun and still have the same kind of range.
Yeah.
And that's the...
Yeah, because the pro player is really like, say Scump, you know, he's usually a SMG player. Usually runs around with the SMGs and plays like that. Like, the last time I've really ever seen him use an SMG, like, to the best of his ability was, like...
VMP, Black Ops 3.
Or, like...
I don't know. VMP was overpowered.
Yeah, like... I feel like him with the MSMC on Black Ops 2 is just way too good.
Yeah, well, I mean,
know.
anyone with the
VMP as well.
and anybody could be good with the SMGs on BO2 just in general, and same thing with Black Ops 3. I mean,
Yeah,
those games were made for submachine guns. And I mean, I guess there is the M8, but like besides the I mean, it was the M8 and the VMP, and the M8 and the MP7 was used a little bit. The Scorpion, I always get the name mixed up. I want to say it's MSMC, right?
Yeah, MSMC.
Yeah. Okay. Too many of the same letters. Oh, good. I have 3 teammates who aren't moving. Take that nade.
I feel like the SMGs in the next COD cannot kill, and like I feel like they should not kill in like 3 hits. Cause if you even go to play MWR, it's like you just get spammed with nades and like.
Oh yeah, yeah. No triple nades. Triple tacticals maybe, but I'd say double is sufficient. You don't need a third one. But triple nades, like double nades is okay because it, you know, it takes up a perk and getting the extra nades physically. With danger close, it takes 2 slots. But in MWR, because it's, you know, based off the original Modern Warfare, it just takes up 1 slot, one of the perks, to get 3 nades instead of just 2.
Yeah, I do not like in World at War they had Jug and Stopping Power. Shipment domination,
just nades thrown everywhere.
Yeah, they cannot make. I don't want the maps to be big. I don't. I feel like the maps should be like close to medium range.
Well, like if you think about it. They, in the behind the scenes, the trailer release day, what was it, like April 24th or something? They showed a clip.
Yeah.
26th, yeah. Well, they showed a clip of the, game designers out on one of the actual battlefields because they were basing it so much off the realistic battlefields. And if you think about it, you know, one of the battlefields by itself took up all the beaches of Normandy because, you know, the beaches of Normandy were stormed on D-Day. Like, that's going to be a huge map if they encompass it all, because they're going to have to come up with some kind of barrier if they don't want to, because there weren't just walls on the giant beach.
Yeah, and think about it. They're going to be doing... There's most likely going to be a D-Day map. There's
most likely.
going to be a map in the jungle.
Yeah.
There's definitely going to be those maps.
There's going to be a map at Stalingrad, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of historical like areas we're going to be playing in, but I just don't think that they should make it just so outscaled to the max where like it's kind of like Battlefield 1. I don't want it to be like that. I'd rather it be kind of medium to close range gunfights. And like, you know, the occasional long range gunfight with, you know, say your M1 Garand or, you know, whatever gun
that's what I want it to be.
I mean?
Is people are running and gunning, but then you get the occasional person who's playing it. Sorry, he was running reactive and I just drilled him. But yeah.
Yeah, it should definitely be like that. I don't think it should be, like MWR, where it's every map is huge, besides like Shipment or like Vacant. And Vacant is even like one of those maps, you know, I like it, but to an extent.
Here's
'Cause
what.
it's just all hallways, and it's annoying, because you could get flanked from anywhere, it's too small in hallway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want it that type of map, I want it just like open, you know, say kind of like throwback on Infinite Warfare. Like I don't like the map a lot, but I feel like if they made sort of a map like that in World War II, it would work really well since it's boots on the ground.
Yeah.
All right, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say that I think the maps should be bigger, but hear me out. I mean, obviously, you know, D-Day is across all of the beaches, and so there's not going to be a lot of this, but for some of the other ones, I think it should be a lot more inner city where the wars took place. Like, oh my god, they have to have a map London. They have to have a map on in London
Uh-huh.
during the Battle of Britain.
Hmm?
Where the battle was completely taking place in the sky. Like we don't have to necessarily have everybody in the sky, but just having a map in that area where you could see that would be great. They've got to incorporate. It's gonna take me a second. General Patton with the balloon tanks when they
I never
stormed
heard of
Normandy.
that. What is it? What is it?
Basically, I can't think of the city's name, but since Patton hit a soldier who was going through the effects of PTSD, he was sidelined by the government.
Okay.
But because he was so well known, they decided to use him as bait, and so they gave him an army made out of balloon tanks, so that
So was it like? So there was no soldiers. It was just the balloon tanks.
there might have been a few, I'm not sure, but it was mainly just the balloon tanks, and he was standing over there with them. And Hitler got word of this and all the pictures of it, and he was convinced that Patton was leading the main assault. And then they came in, and that was like cities above, so he sent 1 million soldiers over to that city hundreds of miles above. And even after they stormed Normandy, and they had started it because, you know, it lasted for days, after they started to storm the beaches, he would not move his troops out of the above city because he still thought Patton was going to be involved. Because he was so convinced, because everything he was doing was working. Yeah.
Hitler wouldn't move his troops out of Normandy.
No, he wouldn't. Well, no, not out of Normandy. Out of the... I'm gonna have to find out what the city was, but it was a city a couple hundred miles above it. Above the beaches of Normandy, like above all the beaches.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent 1 million troops there, and he would not move them out, even though he needed reinforcements at the beaches, because he was convinced Patton was gonna be the main assault. But Patton did nothing, and that's how we got our foothold in Europe.
You see, I feel like if there's a mission that has Hitler in it, there's gonna be so much controversy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's history.
That is true, but you know how people get, and like the media gets, they always just have something, they find something to blame or bring up something to start some controversy over a video game. That's trying to be historically accurate, and they literally cannot do that without some like sort of judgment towards the game. Like, what do you really think that we can just, you know, go from advanced movement all the way down to like 0, boots on the ground, just...
No, they're gonna put vines around the map, and you can just go flying around on the vines.
Uh-huh.
No,
I mean, but like, what do you think that we could just get used to it again? Because like, Modern Warfare Remastered is
well, see, what they have to do is they have to kill off this trend of jetpackers immediately. And how they do that is getting a firm distinguishing Is that a word? Distinguishation. I don't think it's a word.
It's not
But yeah,
a word.
they have to distinguish between assault rifles and submachine guns completely, so they're completely different. They have to limit the abilities of sniper rifles, as in quick scoping will be more difficult. You know, like no quick draw or anything, obviously, but don't have it be super fast to aim in the scope.
Yo, I honestly feel like since you just brought up a quick draw and whatever, you have to balance that out. I don't know how they're gonna do it. How are they gonna get some attachments in the game? Like
yeah,
you can't get a red dot. Where's that? You can't. I don't know if there was a quick draw. I'm assuming there wasn't.
no, but they do have variable sights, where it's like literally.
Yeah, they could obviously do that.
Like I mean, and you can exchange iron sights on guns and stuff as well. So there could be different iron sights. Obviously no traditional red dots. There will not be any thermal sights or anything. I mean, the other thing is grenades aren't going to go very far. I mean, there's a lot that is going to be a lot different.
I feel like they need to figure out a way to have certain attachments for assault rifles and have certain attachments.
Yeah, which I think is where they should have gone with weapon variants, is what I think they can do to solve that issue. Which is not have it be something that makes the game overpowered or be something you have to get in supply drops, but it should be something you unlock over time, where it's like, because of the arms race that was involved in World War II, because of, you know, countries trying to show their dominance over other countries, it was just a complete arms race, even afterwards with the nuclear bombs and everything. It was just who could get something that is similar but better. And that was just constantly what it was. And I think they can bring that in with having like experimental attachments where they don't always work, but like I'd like to see something like that. Like you know, a foregrip that, like, you can have different degrees of foregrip, like one that somebody custom makes on the battlefield out of like a piece of wood or something. And you can get one that the government installed on a certain number of models or something. You know, like by leveling up, you can
really cool. That's a good idea for like cosmetics in a way.
Yeah.
That, like, imagine if you could just carve the amount of kills you have on the side of your gun. Like.
Oh yeah, it'd be sick.
That'd be sick. They should do something like that. But you know, obviously if they're not gonna, you know, completely destroy supply drops this year, I feel like they will go cosmetics, but if they don't, they will most likely bring some really overpowered World War II weapons.
You know, one thing they could add in that would be literally, like what you were talking about, cosmetics and everything with carving, is with supply drops, you can increase the amount of this you can do. But what you could do is literally just carve into the side of your gun. Like, obviously the gun's made out of metal, but you can carve in metal. And you can just carve whatever you want. So it's like the paint shop from Black Ops 3, but like, you can literally, I mean, I guess it couldn't be literally draw, but you can add like a certain amount of figures onto it or something.
Yeah, that like, you just, like, imagine if you're playing on a console, say, or playing on a PC, you know, the menu pops up, or the screen pops up, and you could like enter in the number of like how many kills, or automatically, like, you know, detects how many kills you have, and then you put that in, and then you're just like, put that many kills in there, and then just, you literally are gonna scrape it in the side of your gun. Like, it has kind of like a design almost on your gun, just like you said on the paint shop.
Yeah,
so I think
that'd be sick.
that'll be pretty cool to do. What do you want from camos? Because World at War didn't have camos. They wanted to go with like, you know, gore more than camos. So I really don't know what to expect. Like, I don't want pink, you know, weed camos with like dabbing everywhere on Normandy, dude.
I don't know. No, I'm joking. No, I think they could do carvings and stuff, but like preset ones instead of camos. So like, you know, carvings, and then Stains is another thing they could do.
Like, what do you mean stains? Like mud? Like
Yeah.
snow? Stuff like that?
Well, not well, snow wouldn't stain, but like, yeah,
Well, I
mud,
mean, like,
blood.
blood. That would be sick. Like, if you could have like a camo called Mud and Blood, dude.
Oh, mud and
Or like
blood.
Mud and Blood.
Where's
That would
my
be
mud and
crazy.
blood?
Like, I feel like that's a really good name for a camo, Mud and Blood.
Mud and
It would
blood.
just be a mix of the Mud and Blood on a gun. That would be sick.
I don't know. I
Yeah, I
like
could see
snow
it, like,
job.
I feel like they could do like some really good camos, but it would have to be really bland. Like they couldn't
Yeah.
go
Well, like,
anything like BL3, like with
and then they can do
weaponized or
they can
anything
do like the
that.
scratches one that they have on this, like gunmetal scratches. They can do dents as well,
Uh-huh.
like a dented up gun.
I feel like they should do like how Infinite Warfare has it, where you can add like an accessory on the side of your gun or something like.
Yeah,
They
like
should
dog
do
tags
that
and
again.
stuff.
Yeah, like imagine on your dog tag, you have a certain amount of kills. It's kind of like the you know you're scraping in the side of your gun the amount of kills. Imagine if you could put that on your dog tag, and like just put it on your gun
Oh, it'd be
as an
sick.
accessory. Or even like the amount of a certain challenge you've gotten, or like there's calling cards, or there's dog tags that you can get in replacement of the medals in a way, saying like, oh, you got the nuke or something, or you went on like a 30 kill streak. That would be sick, because then you're gonna be showing off your accomplishments, even
Yeah.
on your gun. So I feel like they should do something like that. They shouldn't just have it all bland and not really do much with the customization. It's
Yeah, I
gonna be
agree.
hard this year to customize. I don't know what they're gonna do.
They're gonna have to pull out something pretty inventive.
Yeah, something really, really creative. Cause I don't have a clue.
They should, you know what they should like honor the troops and stuff by having some of the accessories be like the dog tags of actual troops, like bringing some history into it, because there were a lot of, I mean, hero actions. There was that guy. See, I know this all, but I can't think of names or location names. But it was in the it was in the Pacific, and it was it was against Japan, and they were holding back the Japanese defenses. There were 3 of them manning a machine gun, like a turret, and they one of them ended up dying after I think he ran out and started throwing. I think he threw his gun at someone, and he ended up dying after killing quite a few of them, and so there were only 2 of them left. But one of them fatally wounded his hands, and he was supposed to be loading the gun, and so one guy had to load the gun and fire it at the same time, and then a grenade landed just outside of their setup, and they didn't see it, and it blew up, and it hit the eyes. I mean, this sounds completely fake because of how perfect it is, but it hit the eyes of the guy shooting, and so the one guy could only use his hands, and the other guy could only use his hands, but they kept firing, and they held off the Japanese.
That's crazy. They should implement that into the story, or like, I feel like they should do mission teams again. So because there was the
because there were different. Yeah, there were different.
Like imagine
troops,
you
units
going in the unit or a troop, whatever, and that's like kind of like mission teams in a way, and you can level them up and get camos and get accessories, and like I said before in the customization aspect of the game, that I feel like that would be good, and I'm not sure there's gonna be variants or not. I'm pretty sure there's not, since it's World War II.
There better not be.
I think there's gonna be overpowered weapons and supply drops eventually. You know, that I think that's without a doubt, to be honest, unless they're really learning from their mistakes by now. Like, it's been 3 years. I think they should have learned this. So, you know, I'm not really sure what's gonna happen. I forgot what I was gonna talk. Oh, if I'm not mistaken, did you hear about the movie Hacksaw Ridge?
I've heard of it before, yeah. I have not seen
Okay.
it.
Do you know what it was about?
Generally, yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know what World War it took place in. I'm pretty sure it was two.
It was two, it was.
Yeah, so the guy, if you haven't really, you know, if you don't know what happened and what this soldier did, well, he basically he refused to use a weapon.
Oh,
Alright?
yeah.
And he saved, I think the movie said 75 of soldiers that were either wounded or literally dying.
Without
And
using a gun.
he managed to do that without using a gun, literally being the medic. And he didn't want to use it because of his religious beliefs. And I don't know what they're going to do with religious beliefs in this game, because there was a lot of them. And, you know, you have the Germans, you have the Japanese. This mainly took place on Hacksaw Ridge, but, like, what if they make a map out of that? You can climb up on the ridge in, like, the mid-match or something. Or maybe it's like a dynamic event in the map, kind of like Advanced Warfare, where it's like you have to move up the ridge. And then you fight on the ridge. You know, like you start below it. Like I'm trying to think of the movie right now. So there was a camp that they had set up right like below the ridge. And then if they went up there, that's where the Japanese were, and that's where they really were fighting. But if they could kind of implement some dynamic event there where, I don't know, they're forced to go up to the ridge after a certain point, and then the Japanese spawn far out of the ridge. You know, they spawn out on the top of the ridge, but they're not near like the entrance of it or the hill, or what am I saying? The cliff. So they don't like spawn trap, but like. Imagine that. That'll be really, really like, just that'll be a cool dynamic. If I don't know how to explain it, but that's my best way of explaining it.
The other thing to wonder about, like I know what you're saying. It just came to mind thinking about another story because there was a guy who had to reach inside of one of the machine guns because it jammed, and he reached inside to the point where it had to burn his arm to unjam it. Like, it was ridiculous burns, and he got so many medals. I think that was from a different movie, or it was, like, portrayed in a different movie, but it's a real thing. But yeah, like, what about reloading? What do you think about that? Because obviously some of the guns are gonna be alright for it, but, you know, if there's a manned gun, like the turret or something, it takes a long time to reload. And, you know, how do you think they're gonna cover that? Do you think they're gonna have it be normal? Do you think they're gonna do the thing with the variants, like the variant pieces, like how you can have different grips or something, or that they could do something like that? Possibly.
I think what they're gonna do is like, I think they're obviously gonna bring back fast hands, or make it a perk in which you can reload faster. Like sleight of hand or something, because if they're not gonna have attachments like fast mags or something, then what else can you do? You can still do a perk, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna bring more strategy into the game, because you're gonna decide between if you want sleight of hand or like say dead silence. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't think there should be dead silence. I honestly don't. Because that'll solve the jetpacker problem so much. To not have it. For one reason.
What do you mean?
Because people just sprint around the map. And if they get rid of dead silence, or I mean, there won't need blast suppressor, but if they get rid of anything that makes you quieter,
Okay.
then it makes it too easy for people who like to jetpack to just sprint around the map. It gets you to the point where you have to walk around. Like, I think you shouldn't have to crouch to be quiet, but I think if you're walking, it should be quiet, and if you're sprinting, it's loud.
I think that is an issue in Modern Warfare and Master. There's a lot of people that like crouching in that game. It's just crouching, like, central.
Well, I mean, it was the original because you had to crouch to be quiet, and I think it should be if you're walking, it's like you have dead silence, but if you're running, it's like you don't. And I think they can have an awareness perk where you can hear better. But I also kind of think Marathon Runner needs to be a perk, but I think sprinting by itself needs to be slower without Marathon Runner as well, just to discourage people from sprinting around the map.
I feel like the only...
Like, running and gunning, I get, and that's where you'd run Marathon Runner, but it's...
Yeah, that would, like, I would use that in, like, a hard point or even, like, a domination match, like a fast-paced game mode.
Like, if you want to...
Search, I wouldn't run Marathon Runner.
Well, like, if there's... What I was trying to say earlier, and I think I got completely off topic because I was getting excited about all the possibilities, but I started to mention that I want more inner city, like, for the battles. You know, like the Battle of Britain or Stalingrad or something where there's a lot of buildings present. And I think it should be very confined as to where there aren't a lot of long-range angles. And so you've got to be tactical about which ones you hold at range. So
you want more like, say,
like Yemen, like Yemen,
like smaller.
I wouldn't say overgrown, but I want some like Yemen from Black Ops 2, where there's a lot of buildings there, and like you can sprint up around the map, and you can get enough to, like you can. Like, get far enough up with a short-range submachine gun on the map to have positioning, especially if you're running Marathon Runner or if you're just sprinting. Like, you can get positioning on the map with a sub, but it should be to the point where you can't just go sprinting through the map like you could on some of the other maps with a sub, because there aren't enough angles. Like, there need to be angles to watch everything for longer-ranged weapons, but there have to be enough of... like, basically lanes. There have to be enough lanes where not all of them can be covered, so that people can gain positioning, or like some areas that can't be seen, so that there is positioning to be gained by, you know, submachine gun players, so that they can get closer ranged if they're running Marathon Runner, and then they can walk around for the rest of it. Like, you know... If you could get positioning on one of the bomb sites with a sub, because you'd have to be closer range if they're gonna go with what I want, which is for subs to be closer range because they've got more recoil and everything, and for assault rifles to be longer range, and for there not to be very much of a gap in between the two, or a very large gap in between the two, where you can't be running and gunning with an assault rifle, and you can't be trying to spray people down from across the map with a sub.
Yeah, that's a huge problem in these, like, more futuristic games, because really, ever since, I feel like Black Ops 2, that's been a problem.
Yeah.
Because, like, in Black Ops 2, you could run around with the M8, have no problem. You could even
I could range people with the MSMC.
Yeah. Exactly, like, and then on this game, like, say BO3, you can go around with the AN-94, or not the AN-94, the KN-44, and you could just demolish them. You just slap on a quick draw foregrip and you're good. You could just go out about it, dude. Like, you have no problems. But then, you know, say Infinite Warfare, it's a bit harder to do that. In a way,
the NV4 you can do it with.
The NV4 is a bit harder though, because it's like, if you're just aiming down close range, you're not gonna.
Yeah,
really
you can't
win.
aim down. It's about spray firing mainly,
Yeah.
but you know, people are running less and less secondaries now as well, which is another factor into that, as to people having to run and gun.
Really good secondaries. I feel like the secondaries should be a little bit less
I don't think there
like
should be as many options. I do not think there should be a full auto or burst pistol. I mean, obviously not. It's World War II, but you know, I like they shouldn't try to incorporate that at all. I think it should be semi-auto, not super fast shooting either.
like the M1 Garand. The M1 Garand might be a
Like,
problem. With
okay,
the shooting.
take the Deagle for example in remastered.
Oh,
right?
you don't want that.
No,
You
I
want
don't. I
that.
don't want that. Like, I want a semi-auto pistol, but I don't want people to be able to just completely rapid fire. Or like the, is it the EMC? Yeah, it's the EMC on this game, isn't it? Yeah.
If you
I
have
don't.
a good trigger finger with that gun, it's over.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I don't want.
I feel like I don't think the pistols are gonna be that good, cause
Yeah, I don't want them to be
Just
good. I think it should be
judging-
some, and I think you shouldn't. There shouldn't be dexterity or anything. I think it should be something you switch to if you absolutely need to hold a close
yeah.
angle. Like, I think it should
Exactly.
be 2 or 3 hits. It's slow shooting, but like if you've got an assault rifle and you have to hold a close angle because you're, you know, clutching up and you've got to defend the bomb site, and it's an indoor bomb or something. Like, I think that's where you should be using the pistol and not just running and gunning with it, or, you know.
I think Black Ops 2 did the pistols really well. Like, even if some of them were overpowered, but like you saw the pros, you never really saw anybody use them like crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could see some lobbies where people would just do pistol only, like it's overpowered, but there would be like situations where people would clutch with a pistol or even use it like at the last second. You know, it would be really, really good. Like, just, you know how much excitement you would get if you just turned on a guy with a pistol?
I think it should be
And,
like
like-
CSGO, basically. Like, basically, I want this to be, you know, because CSGO maps are like what I'm talking about, where, you know, there's
Yeah,
all the
like
angles
those
for
maps. Those
long
maps are
range,
nice.
but like close range, you have to play positioning, and you've got to play with smokes to get to that positioning, because there won't
Yeah,
be
so
thermal. So
you-
like, I want something where you have to be tactical to get map positioning
Yeah,
instead of
that's
just.
what I was about to say. I was about to say you want maps kind of like a little bit more strategic maps. Like, you have to play strategy a lot to get around and, you know, to get your positioning and
Yeah.
your placement on the map and everything. And how you move around the map can affect, you know, the flow of it. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want
Yeah.
that more of a strategy type map. You don't want the just randomness of like these games that have been coming out recently.
And I want
I don't
like
You
this.
see, I don't mind it, but I just want the maps to have some flow. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
want it to be just random. I don't care if it's, you know, you have to be. There's a ton of head glitches because like most of the maps in like the recent Call of Duties have a ton of head glitches for some reason.
Yeah,
like-
I think there should only be head glitches for now I gotta think about this, because I was gonna say long range, but then that, like, cause that adds excitement to the people who are either sniping or using their assault rifles at range. But I mean, like, the subs aren't gonna be challenging them anyway, so that's probably the better option. The other option is if it would be more head glitches for close range. But
Yeah.
I'd say because, you know, if they're holding tighter angles, there's gonna be boxes
feel-
inside and everything. But
I feel like they really should like cut down on the head glitches.
yeah, because
it's
they're
It's
unpredictable.
boots on the ground. It's boots on the ground. The amount of head glitches.
Snaking,
like,
snaking has to be
dude,
gone.
Snaking has to be fixed.
Here's what they
like,
can do to fix snaking.
This is a problem in Infinite Warfare.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is.
see this on any other game, dude. Like, I haven't seen it.
There's a
and-
very simple way to fix it. Well, I guess there's 2 ways. One is the extremist version, which is just get rid of proning completely. Like,
No,
have it be
they're
a
not
crouch
doing
and
that.
standing only. But
No, it's not.
yeah, that's why it was an extremist. The other one is to make it slower to crouch and lay down, or slower to go between crouching and laying down. But like, you can crouch quickly. It's just between crouching and laying down, it's slower. Or like, they have a different animation for standing up, which points your gun down or something. When you lay down, it when you stand back up, it points your gun down to discourage snaking or something. Like where you can't have gun up right after laying down and standing up.
That's a good point to make, because like you would instantly go up and it would be right on the person. Like the person cannot hit you when you're snaking. Like if you know how to snake, you know, for the people that don't really play competitive that are watching the stream right now, YouTube viewers, you know, just snaking is basically when you're going up and down, proning and crouching behind a head glitch. That makes you literally like you like the other person cannot shoot you. Like it's really hard to kill you. So it should be really that should be very nerfed. I mean, it should be gone. Like it's really a broken mechanic. Like it really just fucks up the game.
There's one thing they could add in that I necessarily don't know if this would work, and it's also kind of extremist, but they did have it in some of the older games.
What?
Which would be you can't, or I guess it could just be you can't aim in your sight while you're sprinting, just at all. I mean, that doesn't really fix snaking, so I don't know. I think I meant like you have to be completely still to have your gun up is what I'm saying. Besides maybe walking, like crouch walking or
I don't know if
standing
I would do
walking.
that, because like what if you're going into a
Or
room
like you can't gun up if you're laying
corners or something?
Oh no. Yeah.
It would be an issue with that, because people like you have to check your corners in competitive. I mean, really in like public games, it's gonna be a struggle too for the players that play a little bit more, you know, strategic in a way. You know, there's those players on pubs too. So like they kind of walk in slowly into a building, you know, kind of waiting. So I feel like that's too much, you know, to ask.
Yeah.
To fix one thing. But I feel like they should definitely fix snaking.
The other thing is like what I was talking about, wanting it to be more like CS:GO a bit, is I want there to be angles where you can throw smokes over the map to get doorways if you learn the angles.
I want the tacticals to be more useful, because I feel like these days, like, smoke is not used anymore. Like,
or just not tactically.
Aren't as used really.
Like I think
as much.
You should be able to on a map like Yemen. You should be able to have your assault rifle player line up, throw a smoke over the map to block an angle for the opposing team's main assault rifle player. And then that means that your sub can move up to get positioning, like that kind of stuff. And then like your sub throws a smoke, and so your assault rifle can move to a different angle to get eyes on the bomb site or something. Like I think it should be like that, where like you have to tag team off of teammates to move up using the tacticals to hold angles.
Yeah, if it has gameplay mechanics like that and features such as that, like where you have to do that in order to move up, you can't just say, "All right, I'm moving up right now," you know, because you're gonna get gunned.
It slows down the pace of the game.
I feel like tactical should definitely be a bigger part of the game, because you know I feel like the flash should be balanced. I don't want it to be Modern Warfare Remastered flashes or stunts. Because you're flashed for like a good minute on Modern Warfare Remastered. You can. It has to be a good.
The question is,
5 to 10 seconds flash.
Are they gonna have flashes?
That much. That is true. They actually. You know what I heard? I heard that people back in the day used to get dead rats, and they put bombs inside of the rats. So they would just like kind of make it seem like it was just a normal dead rat, but when really it was a bomb inside of the rat, and they would just plant it somewhere, or make it seem as if it was just, you know, just a regular rat. So the soldiers wouldn't know. They could do something like that in a way, but
I'm not entirely sure about throwing dead rats at people, but you know.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, that was just
whatever floats your boat.
You know?
Yeah.
That was just something to throw out there.
I mean, obviously they're gonna have a stick grenade, I'm sure. Maybe like the more advanced versions. Other things they did is they made like improvised or like IEDs, but grenade versions, where they literally just put it in a bottle and threw it.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be Molotovs in the game.
I mean, like you gotta think,
there's a possibility of Molotovs being in the game.
it's World War II,
Yeah,
so they are
Molotovs?
like they are past like the World War I using mustard gas and everything, but I mean I'm almost certain it was still used in some instances.
I feel like they're gonna get like a gas grenade, a Molotov, a regular frag. I feel like
One thing they could
honestly,
add in that would be really, really cool, and it would be changing the game mechanics in a way that I doubt they will, at least not this year. But with the improvised explosive device, if they did something like old school mode on Modern Warfare,
okay.
where like you pick up stuff around the map, if they did something like that, but like in competitive play in pubs, where there's different parts that you can get from different sections of the map, and so you can get the stuff to make an improvised explosive device, or like to make grenades and stuff, instead of having scavenger.
It's like a crafting system.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that.
I mean, I highly doubt it. Or I mean, even if it's just like instead of scavenger, there's like a place on the map where just like one thing where it'll replenish grenades or something. I don't know.
Like an ammo crate or something like that?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I mean, even if it just comes down to that.
Yeah, that might be a feature in campaign, because I've heard that they're wanting to do that kind of where you don't regen a health in campaign. So you're gonna have to call your medic to come heal you, kind of like Battlefield 1. So they might be doing that in campaign. I'm not sure about multiplayer though. I'm highly doubted in multiplayer. But damn, we've talked a lot about the multiplayer, man, and a lot of competitive stuff.
Nazi zombies. We can talk about those.
Nazi zombies, yeah. They just showed us an image. They didn't really say anything about. Oh, I heard that they said that it's a whole new story and that it's their first horror game in years. Because they're creators of Dead Space, so it makes sense. But they said they're treating it as if it was like a standalone game. It wasn't part of like World War II. Or it just wasn't part of the new COD.
I think it's going to be a different storyline because it's going to be changing history 100%. Like I can almost guarantee that it's going to be taking place after the war. And it's going to be they had one of the Nazi scientists experimenting on the people that they put in the concentration camps about perfecting immortality after death or something. And that's why Hitler committed suicide, so that he could come back immortal after the war. And it's all the Allied troops after the war.
Yeah, hold on. Let me look up a little like just what the dev said about the Nazi zombies, because this is hold on. Let me just look it up real quick. Okay. World War II. Okay. This is from Polygon. Yeah, he says an all-new cooperative mode featuring a unique standalone storyline set during World War II that's full of unexpected adrenaline pumping action. They're saying stuff about building an army with the Third Reich. Um, that's interesting. Building an army of Nazi zombies in the
Yeah.
Third Reich. That's their like storyline. That's what they said at the reveal. What do you think about that? That's
What, Nazi
kind of
zombies?
weird. Yeah, like just
Well, yeah,
building
well,
an
that's what I
army.
thought it was going to be. Yeah, because it's going to be them building an army of the undead that they were testing on people, and that's what they were actually working on and everything. I mean, it's going to be interesting, it's going to be changing history, and it's going to be highly controversial. I mean, if you bring back anyone that caused mass genocide into something and say that they were working on something else while, you know, killing people, going to be controversial,
Hmm.
definitely. But I mean, it is just history, and you know, it's not about what they did in the past. It's about how we can not do it again. I mean, every case of history. You know, we're not studying history just for the fun of it. We're studying
That is
history
very
so it
true.
doesn't happen again, or so we
So history
can
doesn't
improve.
repeat
Like if it
itself.
is something good, you know, if we're talking about, you know, innovators such as Steve Jobs starting something in their garage that turned into Apple. Or if we're talking, like, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you do want to have repeat itself, but there's some things that you can't just, you know, pretend it didn't happen, because then that is doing two things, and that's giving history an opportunity to repeat itself, and it is, um, not acknowledging the sacrifices people made for whatever happened. You know, the people that were victims, the people that fought to end it. Nobody's being
Yeah.
acknowledged if we just try to avoid it. And so, you know, there's going to be controversial stuff in there because of all of the neo-Nazi stuff and people who are, you know, overly conspiracy theorizing everything to try to make it out to be something that it's not for attention. But, you
Or
know,
even just what they believe in, and they really stick to what they believe in. They
yeah,
believe some sort of way about the war, or
I
maybe
mean,
maybe
all
they
of,
were veterans or something. That's a possibility, and they bring it up, and you know they don't like that they're almost because in a way it's glorifying the war. You know what I mean? Like in a way it is because you're
yeah,
playing multiplayer, you're killing people in the setting that it was like the event was taking place. You know,
yeah, that's
but
why I think they need to
they're
add
just
in
trying to
something.
tell. They need to add in something that like kind of like Battlefield 1. You know, if you ever played Battlefield 1, they started off with saying, you know, this was like the continuing of the supposed world or the war that ended all wars.
Yeah,
And like it said that many, you know, it was talking about soldiers that were lost. And I looked up because if you died in Battlefield 1 in the intro, it popped up as the person's name.
that died
So
there,
like
yeah.
it says that died the year they were born through the year they died. And I looked up the names, and their names are real. Like some of them were privates, and you know, some of them were the infantrymen. So it was really cool to see that they included that. They should do something to kind of dedicate the lives of those soldiers that we lost in the war to the game, and in some way they should tie it together. Since it's gonna be about like you know the brotherly like bond and everything between these soldiers and the sacrifice they had to make throughout the entire war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have to do something like that. Maybe even maybe they could even you know kind of fast forward into the future. Say they kind of alter the campaign a little bit. They fast forward into the future, and you know you see the soldiers having a memorial at the ending of the game or something. I don't know. That's just an
Here,
idea.
like, two things that I think they can add. You know, the whole hub thing they're adding in, which is a whole nother conversation for this podcast.
Yeah, the headquarters.
Yeah. Just a hub thing, basically. I mean,
Basically the
it's
tower
just a
of
hub.
Destiny.
But
really,
one thing they could add in there, it'd be really cool if they did, which would be adding in the entire memorial.
of all the soldiers that died, right?
Yeah,
And then
like
have
all
a
their
wall
names.
with like all the names on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like have a ton of like little vendors or something, like obviously the black market or
You can get
quartermaster,
you
whatever
can
they're
get
gonna call
a
it.
dog tag with any one of their names on it
Exactly.
to put on your gun, like gun accessories.
A really good idea there. They should definitely do something like that where they give you the names of these soldiers that you can
Because
actually
like if
show off.
if my grandfather was in fighting in World War II, which he was right afterwards, but I could find his name on that wall, and just like it should be all the soldiers. It shouldn't be all the soldiers that died. I mean, it could be I mean, either way, if I want to honor my grandfather through my competitive play, and I put his dog tag on my gun because I found it on that list, I mean, that just adds meaning to it. It's
You're
something of
essentially honoring
respect.
him
Yeah,
in
it's
the game.
it's something of respect instead of, anything else. And one thing they could do is with the maps, they could do, how they have like the cutscene for some of the Infinite Warfare maps
Yeah.
beforehand, and I think they had it for Nuketown as well, like where it does a cutscene cutting in. They should do a slightly longer cutscene cutting in, or even just while the countdown's going down. And they should have the list of all the people that died there's names. Scroll on the screen or just on the screen depending on the location and the number of casualties. Like something to honor them.
That'll be a really good idea there.
Or like
honestly,
dedicating
now
callouts
thinking
to
about it,
people.
Yeah.
Like how they have the callouts on
little-
locations. Like if
little-
somebody died
little
there.
things that people said back in the day, and
Yeah.
the soldier had died or something, passed away, and they dedicate that like part of the map as a call out. Like
Yeah,
to
like
what
we have
he
callouts that are names, If we,
yeah, that's another feature they should definitely bring back, like Infinite Warfare, where callouts appear on the minimap.
yeah, and they
Instead
should.
of just having to make them,
Yeah, and then if they do them based off of names, then that adds more dedication to those soldiers. Dedicating call out portions of the battlefield where they once fought to them.
Yep. They need to just find some way to dedicate something to them, because that's important always.
Yeah. Another
else
cool thing they could do is go through and get every name of the soldiers who died and even the soldiers who just fought in the war in general, and they dedicate every online match to one of them, so it could go just in a complete row, and every match that starts it gets a different name off the list to dedicate the match to, so like this match is dedicated to, and it'll have the name of the soldier there. And then that could be at the beginning and the end of the match.
Then the next game it'll be like a different person.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty good, but I highly doubt it's gonna happen.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
like
a lot
stretch.
that's a lot of technical stuff to add in, but
A lot of names to go through.
yeah.
But I have some guns I want to talk about here.
Oh, okay.
So, we got the Thompson, confirmed. By a leaked image.
But it's gonna be an energy weapon, right? I hope so.
Yeah. Yep. I hope so.
With bouncing bullets, right?
The car 98K. It says, as an effective German bolt-action rifle, no World War II game feels complete without it. It was really only shown for a second, in one of the behind-the-scenes footage, like in those little clips where it was showing off the devs, but it was shown on a monitor. And it was like, I thought at first it was the M1 Garand. It looked like it, but it's not. It's the Car 98K. Um, there's the M1918 BAR. Um, I'm assuming this is like a machine gun in a way.
Yeah.
It sounds like one. We have the bazooka that was confirmed. So I don't know what they're gonna do with tanks. They might be adding tanks to the multiplayer, or at least some maps to the multiplayer, because in World at War there was tanks.
No, no. They've got to do it as a score streak if they want score streaks.
Like, kind of like the Goliath and AW, but instead there's like a tank that just comes in on the side of the map through like some barrier or something. I don't know. That'll be like...
Yeah, something, and it should be forced to have like 2 players in it or something. Like you couldn't just like one person has to drive and one person has to be controlling the gun or something, so that you can't just have, you know, one person in a tank and 3 people running around, because that's pretty overpowered with it being a tank. Like there should have to be a cripple that comes along with it, with like having to have at least 2 players.
We also have the M1 Garand confirmed, like we already talked about. We have the MG42, which is an LMG. It's can be mounted on the side of a tank as well. So,
Flamethrower.
Flamethrower is also confirmed. That's... What, do you think there's a possibility of being specialist? Or in any way like a kits? I'm assuming that's what they would call it, like a kit or
if they did, what I'd call it specialties, not specialists. And have it be like you can be, you know, faster or quieter or, you know, so like it should be based around perks and not abilities.
I feel like it should be based around like a power weapon, like a balanced power weapon. So it would be a really good one, but at the same time it's a balanced one. So like the flamethrower, say you get it. I don't want it to be like the purifier in Black Ops 3 where you could
just spin in circles shooting it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it cannot be like that. It has to be balanced and...
I don't know, I kind of want it like that. I just want to spin in circles shooting my flamethrower in the middle of the map.
Oh yeah? On Doomsday, I do. But like, you have to just balance that out, and even like, the MG, you pull out the MG42 as a power weapon, it's like a 2 to 3 shot kill. Or maybe even like a 3 to 4 shot, but it has like no recoil. I don't know, like, you know, something. And like, they could even make those power weapons. They're like, there's a one-shot sniper, like for, say, Battlefield 4. They have that in Battlefield 4 where you can pick up a power weapon or a railgun on the map, like if you find it. So, they could do something like that. That's just an idea. Instead of doing specialist or anything like that, but they could even, like, they have the Springfield confirmed as well. Was the Springfield a bolt action or a semi-auto? I don't remember.
I'd assume semi, but I have no clue.
Yeah, I think it was a semi. I'm pretty sure it was. The grease gun, which was officially named the M3. This gun uses 45 caliber rounds, just like the Thompson. The grease gun was cheaper to produce and lighter, but was not as accurate. That was the last confirmed gun for World War II. And if that gun is not accurate, I will not be using it. Because I was really excited once I saw that gun in the reveal trailer. I was like, yes, an SMG that looks like the MSMC, I'm using it.
Yeah. MSMC was life back in the Black Ops 2 competitive days, besides the M8, which also was.
M8 was really, it was either like, there's a lot of balance in that game, so I didn't really have a problem with people using the MSMC, because sometimes people would be using the AN94, MSMC, maybe even, yeah, the M8, the Scorpion. It would be a lot of balance between those guns. So, they just need to bring that back. I need them to focus on the fun factor of the pubs. Because Infinite Warfare pubs can be fun at sometimes, but at other times it just can get really annoying and piss you off. The amount of just stress you undergo with just all the game has to offer.
Yeah.
They need to really bring out the fun factor. Dude, I just thought about something else we talk about. Streaks. What do you think they're gonna do for streaks, dude?
Tank, turret, like one of the stationary ones.
Yeah.
Other than that, they could do an improvised explosive device, just a more powerful one, which would more likely be what they would actually have. They did have airstrikes, so they could call in an airstrike.
Do you think they will do an atom bomb?
No. Well, they might do a nuke, but it is the end of the war, though. Yeah, but they didn't have it until the end of war in Europe already. I mean, it was what ended the war in Japan. I mean, that's more of a Cold War thing, to be entirely honest.
It's more of like
they had it at the end of World War II,
like,
to end World War II, but it was used in it was a Cold War issue because of the Russians and United States.
United States as well. Yeah.
Oh, they have to have something at Pearl Harbor.
On Pearl Harbor.
Oh, imagine that cross ships. Like, you can jump between them, but like completely cross ships. Like, people on the ship. Yeah, like the map be people on all the different ships across, and like you can jump across between ships and everything.
Yeah. It would be really good to kind of have that, because you could get like one ship is like going down from the bomb, and you just have to, you're forced to go to the next map.
Yeah, because like as it goes on, you're forced into the same area. You know, they could do that with all of the maps. Recovery. They could do that on yeah, from AW.
Yeah.
They could do that on Normandy, at Normandy as well.
Exactly.
Like, they can have the tide come in. They can have the tide come in from the one side to force them in.
Yep. And then there's gonna be a lot of bunkers there that the other soldiers were like in, trying to kill off the Americans.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting if the United States was forced into those bunkers, and then the map would turn into like a close range to medium range, like just all the gunfights are close to medium range. That would be really interesting.
They should have yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do for like an HCXD.
I
don't think they're gonna have one.
Probably not. They could do a guard dog.
I think they're gonna go back to a spy plane again for UAV.
I don't know.
There's gonna be a UAV, like that's without a doubt. I just don't know what they're gonna call it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like there should definitely be powerful kill streaks. Like they'll make it like.
Well, I mean their bomb runs were ridiculously powerful.
They should be definitely thinking about doing some really good kill streaks.
Oh my god.
We've covered like everything.
They should do a map where one team starts on a ship above ground, and one team starts in a submarine, and the two collide. And like it creates a rupture.
Almost?
Yeah, I mean, one of the bigger ones, obviously, because a U-boat is very small, but like they should do that where like they collide and it breaks a hole between the two, and that's where you move off spawn. So like the fighting could be anywhere.
It should. That's something that they should include. Just dynamic events, to be honest.
Yeah.
Dynamic events could be big. Like on this, you know what I mean?
That could be a score streak.
Really.
That could be a score streak, a U-boat. Like they could have on all of the maps, part of the map be on a boat, or at least on some of them, and you can call in a U-boat
Yeah.
and sink one of the ships.
So, what are your opinions? Like, do you think it's gonna be a good year?
Yes.
Bad year?
Because if you think about it, well, I base my good year, bad year off of how competitive is going to do. And competitive is going to be superb because if you think about it, it grew a lot this year from Black Ops 3. I mean, it's $7 million up for grabs for between the 2 seasons and all the events for pro competitive. And the amount of players playing competitive has raised, I mean, you know, it's a difference between X last year and 2X this year. You know, it's doubled. And
Very true.
and that was for a awful game or a bad game to a worse game. And so imagine what it is from the worst game to a much better game.
Yeah.
This is gonna bring back players like Parasite and Priesta and
Yeah, what makes or
Miracle.
a Call of Duty game for me is if pubs is good and it's fun to rank up, and the challenges are fun, and if competitive is a lot of fun too. Those are the two main things that I need for the game to be like just one of the best CODs, or at least a really enjoyable COD that I can play.
This has means to become one of the top Call of Duties because, I mean, if you consider it going from maybe 2 million, 2.5 million last year to 7 million, I mean, that's practically a triple in size, practically, just under. And imagine, another triple in size from here, and we'll be at 21 million next year. Especially if the game becomes more popular, because it will, because it's a boots on the ground game, and a better game.
Yep. I think we have a lot in store for this year, and we just have to wait and see for the beta.
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much covered everything on this podcast. We went to talk for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
We've been on since about, let me see, like maybe an hour and a half. Yeah, we have.
Wow. Pretty nice podcast. Oh, somebody just came on to watch.
So I think
And they left.
think that the next year's COD will be good. It's gonna be
I agree.
a whole maybe it's not the best game, but I think that it's gonna get a lot of positive feedback. You know, I don't maybe it's not like one of the top tier games, but it will definitely get a lot of feedback because this is like the most hype I've seen in so long for the community.
Oh yeah.
Like I haven't seen this much hype, and it's already the most liked COD video on YouTube. So it's literally already getting really it's getting well received just by the trailer. So I'm really excited for the next year's COD, and I want to be playing the hell out of that beta. I'm gonna bring you guys some gameplay on the channel, and I'm gonna be live streaming as well, pretty much every day. And I'm gonna be doing the race as well this year, most likely with the same guy here that's doing the podcast with me.
Yeah,
And
I'll win.
yeah, most likely. But dude, I'll probably prestige way faster, depending. I don't know if the challenges are good or not, but I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. We basically covered everything on World War II. Once I can start live streaming on my YouTube channel again, I will be doing it directly on there, and you guys can rewatch it. And for those people that haven't watched it, watch it for the first time, enjoy it for a little bit, and tell me your comments. Or tell me your feedback in the comments, my bad. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys on the next live stream. Nate, you want to say something before I end it?
I'll leave you guys with some advice. A saying of mine. If you're sitting in a corner, then you're not in a circle.